Hello again, and welcome to Football Manager Roleplay, a project where we create a player using the FM pregame editor, give him a potential ability of 200 and see if he will become the greatest American footballer ever. We will simply watch the progression of this player, Henry Marshall, from the age of 15 to hopefully his eventual retirement. This is a world building exercise where Football Manager provides the events and we build a story around those events. Let's take a look at Henry Marshall's current slide. A lot has changed. He has gained a +2 in current rating to 135, and he has now played 100 games at the senior level. He's played his first Premier League season game for Liverpool. He scored his first Premier League season goal. He has 11 caps with the USA national team. The goal was to make him the greatest USA player ever, so he has a good start, but he hasn't truly broken onto the Liverpool senior team and is still playing for the under-21 squad. Furthermore, in the last episode, there was an issue in resetting the detail level screen. This is the screen which determines how much detail we will be giving about each of the games that are being played in England right now. We lost the detail for some games that we previously played, and I'm trying to make sure this doesn't happen again. So we'll keep a close eye on things, but let's move forward. Okay, we are now up to October 26th, 2026. Let's go ahead and look at some of the World Major World Awards. Kylian Mbappe, he claims the World Golden Ball, but Mbappe is still absolutely fantastic. Look at the history of the awards for Mbappe right here. This is the second year in a row that he has won it. In the under 21s, it would be Gavi, Barcelona. He would end up taking that one in here. World Under 21 Player of the Year award. It is his second win. Pedri's also won too. Liverpool's been trying to get Pedri for a long time. Maignan is named as the World Golden Glove winner. And let's see here, Diego Costa with Porto, followed by Ederson in Man City. Here are our various Golden Glove winners. Alisson has actually won it twice for Liverpool. Now, let's go back to our under 21 guys. Have to figure out a way to. Once again, you got to do a little bit of hokey pokey to get to the under 21 schedule here. And let's take a look at this game here. This game was on the 12th. It was against Leeds. Liverpool was 5th in the Premier Division under 21s. Leeds was 10th. And the result is that Leeds won this game 1-0. It's a game where I'm not getting any fixture results for that. That's fine. I can tell you about it. It's a dead game, played mostly in the midfield. Leeds got lucky with a goal. Liverpool's under 21 squad have now played 9 straight games and no wins. Henry Marshall, he had the best match rating for Liverpool at 7.0, but Alex Titchfield really struggled for Liverpool. Now on to the next game. This is Burnley. Burnley in the under 21 Premier Division Cup, Group 6. I don't know what in the world that is about here. It's basically a cup game for under 21s. They played the Burnley under 21s at home, and they beat them 1-0. Waiting for some results here. So there they are. And when you join the match reports, it actually adds just a little bit more time than what you can see. But the great thing about them is you can see a whole lot more. And here we go. Chris Walker in the 90-plus first minute. He managed to give Liverpool the win over Burnley. Henry Marshall, he has a 7.2 game there. This was in front of 715 fans at AXA. And Henry Marshall and Russell John were talking before this game. They said, this losing streak has just gone on long enough. Let's stop it. And this game, as you see, almost ended in a 0-0 tie. Both Henry Marshall and Russell John finished with a 7.2 result. Under the player statistics, you can see Henry Marshall, he had a couple of key passes, 90% accuracy, and he looked pretty good out there. So, after this game, Marshall and John were told by the senior club at Liverpool that they would be reserves for the senior club game against Brighton. And that game was about 2 days forward. Let's see, here's the Liverpool playing Brighton in the Premier Division clash. But the Reds lose this game 1-0. We are not going to talk about this game because, as it turns out, neither Henry Marshall nor Russell John actually played in it. Now, Henry got some unused substitute money, but I think he would have rather seen Liverpool play and win. And the last thing that Henry needs right now is being hired by another unstable club. And since he didn't play in that game, that meant he would at least have a few days rest before the Tottenham next game, which will be home for the under-21s against Tottenham under-21 squad. Liverpool was at 9th, Tottenham was at 10th. Let's see how easy it is to get back to that game. Here's the under-21s, Tottenham under-21s, and that game turned out to be, I think we can actually pull up the details for this game. Maybe the details screen is going to deliver something for me. Yeah, there it is. It's going to deliver a 3-2 victory for Liverpool over Tottenham. And what you get is Mark Watson, you get Alex Ditchfield, you get Jordan Muir, all scoring. They're Tottenham under 25s, top performers here. Ditchfield had a great game. Marshall, he only had a 6.6 game there. I mean, the game really wasn't as close as the score indicator. Tottenham just had no answer for anything Liverpool was going to do. Marshall had accurate passing, but he didn't really see any key chances, and he didn't really help set anybody up. And that's the result. That results in the 6-6 match rating. After that game, Henry Marshall and Russell John were told that the very next day, they were going to be reserves for Liverpool's Champions League game against Sassuolo. They needed to get on a flight to Italy and meet the club there. So they thought, well, okay, we're not going to be in any kind of shape for this kind of game here. So they head off to Liverpool. Let's see if you can find a social feed again. Yeah, that's all. It's kind of, good crowd. Liverpool, Sassuolo clashing in the match. Liverpool absolutely hammered Sassuolo 4-1. And basically, yeah, we could see this game if we wanted to, but basically, Henry Marshall didn't play in it. Russell John didn't play in it. There was no need for them to play in it. At least just by going to it, they would have something to talk about with their mate, Alex Ditchfield. Because Alex Ditchfield had played as a walk-on in the Champions League game against Borussia Dortmund, and he had helped Liverpool win that game with his late goal. So instead, we will go back to the under-21 squad, bouncing back and forth between under-21s and main club, under-21s and main club. October 22nd, we have the Premier Under-21 Division Cup, which will be played, and you got to get to it again. Here we are, the Under-21 Division Cup. It was against Huddersfield. It was another Under-21 Division Cup game, Group 6. This game was on the road. It ended, and we will see that as soon as the machine pulls it up. It ended in a 1-0 victory for Liverpool's under-21s. And as it turns out, they won it because of a Dermot Dunn own goal from the Huddersfield squad in the 46th minute. Now, Marshall finishes with a 7.1 rating, where basically, Huddersfield gets dominated. There's Marshall's a top performer here. Here's the under one squats here. Marshall, 85% passing. Maybe about 4 out of 7 aerial attempts there. But they really needed some opponents to get some offense from this game. as this game was essentially a fight for midfield control. And the great thing about having all this statistical data here is that we can actually watch this own goal from Dunn. Let's see if we can get to it. Here we are, Marshall way off on the left. Maloney tries to get in, it bounces off Dunn. And that game was the one that did it. So now, after this game, they get a notice that they will be asked to attend Liverpool's upcoming game against Newcastle. Let's see if we can find it here. Liverpool, always promising to make it move for Pedri. Liverpool on the road to face Newcastle. How did that game end? Well, the Reds lost that game 1-0. That loss put Liverpool in 10th place in the Premier League. And this turned out to be a low-quality game, as it was described in the press. Newcastle's players just gave superior performances across the board. You can see here. Everybody's in the green. Whereas on the Liverpool side, the only person who, aside from Declan Rice, the captain, the next guys behind him were Skriniar, Marino, and then, of course, you see Henry Marshall right there. Russell John, he played for 57 minutes. And then he was taken off. Alex Ditchfield, you can see on the bench. The lines between being in the under-21 squad and being on the senior team were starting to blur for Russell John and Henry Marshall. Henry Marshall looked at the post-game stats here, and he noticed that Mohamed Salah, there he is, he had finished with a 6.5 rating. Got taken in all of his 5 challenge crosses. Got taken in all of his aerial challenges, and Henry Marshall said to Russell John, 6.5 rating. On what day of the week? On what day of the week are we better than Mohamed Salah? In order to set up some of the major world events of the future, I'll need to do some world building, so bear with me. We'll take you back to the United States and Joe Biden's second term as president. A characteristic of politics in the United States was gridlock, which started to set in beginning in the mid-1990s, and by the mid-2020s, it was at its apex. Biden might have won the 2024 presidential election against Donald Trump, but that didn't put him in the driver's seat, as this slide shows. The United States Congress was effectively deadlocked, with both the Senate and the House at the mercy of one vote of the representatives. This led to a series of what I call social media clout seekers in government, threatening to derail any legislation if their maximalist demands weren't obeyed. Even though the Democrats technically controlled the House, attention-seeking politicians in both parties could threaten to hold the government hostage and buy press attention with their actions. Will they or won't they? One media commentator called it government by service. After the conclusion of the 2026 elections in early November, the midterms frankly didn't change anything. A minor swing put the Republicans in charge in the House, but only by a one-vote margin, and the Republicans couldn't agree on anything. But the Senate races were a disaster for the Republicans. Many of the older senators, such as Mitch McConnell, had retired. Furthermore, the hard right of the Republicans were able to win first-past-the-post elections wherever multiple candidates contested for a nomination. In swing states, this left 3 cases where the Republican nominee for Senate either was, or became soon known to be, a figure for national scorn due to their open bigotry, ignorance, or obvious hard right leanings. One of the nominees had even briefly, as a teenager, if only for a period of months, been a member of the Nazi Party. The Democrats can simply run against the hard right wing of the Republicans. One race was in Georgia, where the Republican voters, unhappy that the Georgia Republican leadership had betrayed the electorate by continually refusing to go along with Trump's alternate elector schemes, and an unwinnable race against Democratic Senator John Ossoff, Marjorie Taylor Greene was chosen as the Republican nominee for Senate, barely in a divided slate that required a runoff. Almost any Republican might have won against Ossoff, but Greene wasn't almost any Republican, and she lost Georgia by 2 percentage points. The Democrats now had a 55-45 lead in the Senate, so the Republicans and Trump would have to wait until 2028 for their chance to control the U.S. government again. And we are back. We have actually moved the calendar up to about the 1st of November. Looking at the next game that Liverpool is scheduled to play, they would be hosting Aston Villa. Liverpool is number 5 in the English Under-21 Premier Division 1. Aston Villa was number 1, and they beat Aston Villa on a 1-0 win. Mac Maloney, he scores the only goal for the Reds Under-21 squad. Henry Marshall, he finishes with a, let's see if we can find him here. He should be there. There he is. Henry Marshall, he finishes with a 7-0 rating. We'll just take a brief look at Henry's stats here. Here is his analytical data. He had excellent passing. He really challenged trying to get the possession a lot. So, what big news is that from Zinedine Zidane. Zinedine Zidane is still under fire by the press, and he will get a powerful vote of confidence from Mohamed Saleh, and that makes the news. So they say that they really do need to have Zidane there. Russell John and Henry Marshall are told that they are going to be emergency reserves for the EFL Cup 4th round game with Liverpool visiting Chelsea. And let's see if we can go back to the news here, social feed. It got us in the right place here. Yep, Liverpool facing Chelsea. Here's the backing of Mohamed Salah. And how did that game turn out? Well, Liverpool won in the 4th round. They came from behind to win. They had their midfield to thank for that. Let's see if we can pull up some details. It seems to be taking a little longer than usual to pull up details, but that's okay. Neither Henry Marshall or Russell John were actually used for this game, but it was a 1-0 win. Harvey Elliott's goal in the 85th minute is responsible for the come from behind victory. Now, we'll take you to a game the very next day, October 29th. This is in the Premier League Under-21 International Cup, and they will be playing the Under-21 squad of a team called Rijeka. I do not know. We will go ahead and pull them up. Rijeka. And the Under-19s actually in this group. Group 3, the International Group 3, has generally Under-21s, but they sent their Under-19 squad. And as I pull it up, the Under-19 squad will lose that game 5-2. And since Henry Marshall and Russell John didn't play with the senior squad, they played in this game. Russell John, he would get a goal, as you can see right here, in the 4th minute. Alex Ditchfield, he would have a hat trick for the Liverpool Under-21s. Henry Marshall's match rating was a 7-1, and he has a couple of key passes here, as you can see on the line over there. And he has had active involvement in grabbing possessions, but this was very clearly Alex Ditchfield's day. Now, on October the 30th, Sporting Life, And what is Sporting Life? This is kind of interesting. Well, Sporting Life was a British newspaper published between 1859 and 98, almost 150 years. And they were best known for their coverage of horse racing and greyhound racing. Well, this website was sort of the indirect successor to that old British newspaper. And it claimed that Zinedine Zidane could be out as early as tomorrow, the 31st, if he had a poor result against number 2 Man City. Henry Marshall was talking to his teammate Alex Ditchfield. They had both heard about the bad press that Zidane was facing, and Marshall told Ditchfield, "Man, I do not want to be called up for that game. They're not even giving Zidane a chance. It's just stupid, and I hate to have his job, depend on how well I do in one game. That doesn't make any sense." Well, as it turned out, Henry Marshall would not be called up to play that game. Russell John would. It really didn't matter who they called up, because Liverpool at number 9 faces the number 2 Man City, and they are absolutely dominant against Man City. 4-1 victory. Ruben Diaz scored an embarrassing own goal in the 37th minute. I don't know if we're going to have a whole lot of time to pull up this result or not. I do know that I think Man City, only had 3 shots on goal, 1 on target, only 3 quarters. Basically, they just couldn't get it up. They had absolutely no chance. So the Liverpool press today, but this win by Zidane may have been the vote of confidence that he needs to shut up the doubters. But the question is, can he keep it going? And you know what? I think this is probably a good place to end it here. Henry Marshall, still very much trying to hang on. Some election politics in the United States, the 2026 midterm elections. Zidane still under fire at Liverpool. How is all of that going to sort itself out? Be sure to watch next time. And remember, if you like what you hear or see, please click the like and or subscribe button. Thank you very much. And until next time.